The following podcast is part of the MindBodySpirit.fm podcast network. Hi, I'm Lindsay, host of the Live Like Eden podcast. What do you do when your whole life flips upside down? Are you questioning everything, lost in chaos, or yearning for life's deeper meaning? I've been there, deep in the thick of it, unraveling my own awakening mess for over 20 years. Now I'm here to help you through yours. I share no-nonsense weekly wake-ups, cutting through the ego's illusions to wake you up to your own spiritual wisdom. No mountaintop list needed here, just practical tools, insights, and real-life experience to save you time. Plus, a much-needed laugh when we're all losing it. Let's dive into this fresh new episode. Hello, everyone. Today I am joined by the founder of spiritcalling.com, Pamela Downs. Pamela is a multidimensional soul-body healer, trance channeler, and spiritual guide who works directly with the Great Council of Light. She's here today to share her awakening journey to this great council, and she is also here at this pivotal time to support humanity's awakening by helping people return to clarity, connections, and the remembrance of who we truly are at the soul level. Pamela and I crossed paths as contributing authors to the book Awakened Hearts, Volume 2, Sacred Stories of Breaking Free and Rising Higher, and she has a lovely story to share with us today. Pamela has created her Soul Path coaching and community work, where she supports individuals in releasing outdated identities and awakening their intuitive intelligence by stepping into their highest expression. I hope you enjoy our conversation today. I will link everything that Pamela has to offer the community in the show notes for you at spirit-calling.com. Enjoy today's discussion, and I will be back with you next week. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode. I am so excited to be sitting here, I can't even speak today, and joined by lovely guest Pamela Downs. She is a trance channel spiritual guide, and she is here to talk about spiritual awakening today. So thank you, Pamela, for joining me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Pamela and I were both in the Awakened Hearts Volume 2 book, sharing our stories, our own personal journeys of awakening. So I'm just so happy to have you here.
Me too.
I love starting every show with your personal journey. And I know that you weren't always a channel.
No.
I don't know, maybe you had some foreshadow when you were younger, but
It's funny because something came up recently. First of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here. And I love sharing my story because there's so many different ways to tell it. And my job that I know, that I've come to learn is that people see themselves in my story. And my job is to just continue to show up over and over and over again, to show and be the living example that you can do it. We're all the same. We're all on the same game. We're all here on planet Earth trying to learn love, expand our soul, and, improve our experience. And yeah, I wasn't always a channel. I was a creative. I still am. It's one of my attributes is creativity and music and singing and instruments and painting. And so when I think of the word channel, that's what that is. So when I was a kid playing my piano and when I was a kid drawing and painting, I was in spirit. I was in inspiration, which is the energy of spirit. And I just remembered I was on a podcast and somebody was talking about speaking in tongues. And my mom used to say that I used to speak in tongues in my sleep. I totally forgot about that until recently. Yeah.
oh, that's
So
interesting.
yeah. And I wonder who was I speaking with way back when? Like, was I connecting with the council? Maybe.
Maybe. And then you just completely black out in the morning and have no recollection
totally.
of that.
Right. Just get on the school bus and head out. But
She's not ready yet. We'll do.
right. Yeah. She's got many decades and suffering to go through to learn herself, to remember her power and who she is as a creator being. And yeah, it was a journey that a lot of people have, Lindsay. Like, you get born into family traditions, religion, the set of things that make up who you are as a human, what you bring to the world, and you continually are learning more and more and more about yourself. And I grew up in a traditional family with a lot of Italian heritage and family was a big part of that, and beliefs were a big part of that, and ritual was a big part of that, and I loved that for a very long time. I loved that.
Mm-hmm.
I got married and I brought my kids into that, and there was just a moment where I started wanting to know and understand and needing to understand the concept of love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it came from. It came out of nowhere. As you travel the seasons, as you travel the decades, as you start to learn who you are, your life experience, your experience with other beings in your life, and just understanding who you are a little bit more and more and more. This concept of love was so important. And at the time, there were all these like circling things around me, like religion was kind of moving around and things were happening in the church that I grew up, in that real faith, and people were being shuffled to different parishes and memories were coming back, and like I was, going, oh, yeah, I know, yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that,
Yeah.
and then thinking, wait, that's not right. That's not truth. That's not love. I don't understand that. And then there was this concept of, if God is love, and I am supposed to like, die and go in front of God, who's sitting in a chair, this, man, he's going to tell me whether I have eternal life or eternal damnation. And if he's love, how does he do that? I don't understand. It was
Yeah.
just like that.
Right.
And that was one more thing. And then it was, I just had to stop everything that I was doing. That's what I do in in my life, in my work life, in my personal life. Like if something doesn't feel right, I can't move, I can't say, I can't do. I just have to be
Mm-hmm.
and just allow. And that's what I did. I just kind of resonated with these new concepts that I was experiencing. At the same time, my world was changing. I was starting to experience what a lot of other people went through, the recession.
So you talk in 2008 back at this
I was,
time?
yeah, I was around in 2008 to 2008 to 2012 were like pow pow moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I just went through the recession. My business slowed down. My husband lost his job. Suddenly we couldn't pay our bills. Suddenly, we ran through our retirement. Suddenly we had to sell our house. We couldn't even sell our house.
Mm-hmm.
All the things that defined us were kind of getting rocked and shaken. And we like when that happens, your ego is shed, your identity is shed. You don't even know who you are. You don't know where you belong. It's like I'm going through it again, and we never stop going through it.
No. I was gonna say
We never stop going.
it's
I mean,
ongoing. Yeah.
yeah, it's completely ongoing. You just get used to it and you start understanding it more and more and more. But at the time, I just couldn't understand. You know, I didn't have to believe that Jesus died on a cross for me to have eternal life. It just rang true with me, and my family didn't understand it, but I just understood that love was like greater than these boxes that we had it inside of. It was without condition, and that started ringing in my friendships and my relationships. And when your identity kind of gets rocked, and like all the things that define who you are, your zip code, your car, your position, your event, you like all your bags, like all the things, like suddenly you don't have all of those, and then you're even thinking about like, do I even have a marriage? Like you are just this, you don't even know who you are. And
Yeah.
that's what was happening. And then also my father was dying, and he was losing his addiction through his addiction to alcohol, losing his battle. And so I was seeing all these things, and my perception, and I talk about this all the time, I was starting to poke holes in the reality that I
Mm.
knew,
Mm-hmm.
one hole, and then another hole, and then another hole. So suddenly, you're poking holes in your reality with these concepts and these ideas. And then suddenly, like, you have more and more of these holes that you're poking in your reality. And then suddenly your whole reality shifts, and
Mm-hmm.
you have a new perspective, and you want to do new things. You want to experience new things. You want to learn new things. You want to share new things. Sharing the new things was like such a big deal. It's something that I always coach people with. Like, you want to tell everyone what you're learning,
Yeah.
but there's not always an audience for it. They're
No.
not always receptive.
At least not around you.
Yeah. You got to learn, like, yeah,
Yeah, it's not always
you,
there.
you got to read the room.
Yeah.
You got to read the room. But you got to do it though to understand. You have to read the room, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what was happening. And I started um, this journey with yoga. I know you have that too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, something that was allowing me at the time. It was exactly what I needed at exactly the right time, allowing me to disconnect from my overactive mind that's like lightning shooting all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and to give my body, myself, a chance to set into the body to allow this intuition, guidance, whatever you want to call it, to make its way through to me to be received. And so that's what started happening. The this new power of myself started uncovering itself. I started stepping more and more into it, more and more into discovery, more and more into new truths through discernment, more and more into breaking away from things that were created for me, where I could create them for myself. And that's the spiritual awakening journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And you're often a disruptor in your family, in your circles. You're often that. And it feels empowering and then disempowering at the same time. It's
Yeah,
hard to navigate. It's hard to navigate, and it takes patience and kindness and love for yourself and compassion and others.
exactly. So, can I ask this? You
Yeah.
say you start feeling, how did you feel? I guess maybe a question there is, how did you feel physically? What was coming through you for you to understand that something bigger was happening to you?
Yeah. Good question. It started with like really deep knowings, and I didn't have a label for that. I didn't know really intuition. I didn't know like, that I had a team of guides, and I didn't know that I had my higher self. Like, I didn't understand all of that yet. But I guess because I am a super creative, a super empath, and I was so in touch, like I had to learn about my energy too. There were so
Mm-hmm.
many things I had to understand about myself. But like in regards to my marriage, I just had a deep knowing. It was one of the times in my life, there were like a handful before that, like really only a couple before that, where I really remember pulling on that intuition, really pulling on that deep knowing. And I remember that I just knew that my contract was over, even
Mm.
though we tried and we tried and we tried. I just knew the contract. I could feel it squeezing me.
Yeah.
Can only describe it as like this timeline was closing, this door, this something was closing, and I was feeling it. It was excruciating. I just went through this again.
Yeah.
Just went through this again with work,
Uh-huh.
and it's like you just start using that tool of your discernment and your inner knowing, and following the pulls. And people say, and my story gets more complex and more rich with more of the stuff we were just talking about. But the only reason it did is because I started listening. I
Mm-hmm.
started listening. Yeah, I had to listen. And there was something, they could have been banging on the other side, like, do it, do it, do it. Everything is weighted for your future on this decision. And it was. I had no idea that leaving my marriage was going to open me up to be all the things that I am right here and now today. Like it's 11 years later, 10, 11 years later. It's a
Wow.
totally different world. Now it's different work. Like, who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew?
Who
Who knew?
knew?
I didn't.
Well, you had a strong intuitive pull there that
Yeah.
knew that the door was closing and something else was
Yeah.
coming. Even when we don't know and what that is when it's happening,
Yeah.
but
You
something
know,
is
you
coming.
know. Yeah.
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 I like how you answered that. So now, 11 years later, I
Yeah.
mean, how did your husband handle you? I'm just curious as you were changing, because this is a big thing that happens with people that start changing or
Yeah.
they're going through an awakening of some kind. It does affect your family, your friends,
Mhm.
your kids. Tell us a little bit about that. How did it affect your children? How many children do you have and how did
I
it
have
affect them?
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, I don't know that they understood the spiritual part of it because I wasn't really sharing that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband, when I was married for 16 and a half years, was very supportive of my creativity, would always give me space and support to explore myself that way. He was really wonderful that way. But this is what happens. It doesn't always happen because sometimes couples grow together spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they always just were and they always do grow together. But what I've experienced in my personal experience and with people in my community and the people that I work with one on one, it's not common.
No.
So it's just not. So There's lots of karmic contracts that came into play that need to work their way out and then, release and heal and then to move forward to the next part of your life. But what I often say is that I was raising my frequency. So as I was exploring myself,
Mm-hmm.
shedding old things, finding new ways, allowing, which then started my healing journey by going to Reiki, releasing trauma in my chakras, like going on that path of healing. I was raising my frequency. You get out of alignment, so everybody knows Abraham and how Abraham Hicks talks about, you have to be on the right channel to
Mm-hmm.
receive, whatever it is you put out there. It's absolutely true. So
Mm-hmm.
the further and further you start progressing and moving in frequency away from your partner, it's more and more challenging because you're not in resonance, you're not in alignment. And so it's actually extremely difficult. And it's not often meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing that we have to realize is that there's nothing negative in saying that. It's all about love. And so the lesson that you conspired to come here on this plane of existence in this lifetime together, you already made an agreement and a pact in another space and time to do that. And, I had to learn a lot from him and he had to learn a lot from me. And then therefore our children came into existence. And my youngest daughter, I know, is going to be my legacy and take over my work. I
Mm.
knew that. I didn't even know it then, but there was something that happened. There was a moment when she was not even born yet when I looked at her sonogram and I wasn't even awake this way yet. But like I know that I know the larger I see the big game. I see all the people on the board.
Yeah.
But at the time you're on the board
Right.
and you don't know it's a
You're
game.
playing
You
the
don't know,
game. Yeah.
yeah, the game of life, the game of
Mm-hmm.
your soul's growth. But anyway, I had to show the courage and I went through my divorce with love and there's his perspective, my perspective, our perspective, and the perspective of the experience. And I was waking up. I was pretty into my waking up phase, and I only wanted to move forward through love. So that was my experience to put love at the forefront, and our children, and then us underneath. So there was a lot of decisions I made through love
Mm-hmm.
to show up the best way that I could, and that gave me when that contract ended, when that, was moved through, I was on the other side of it. That gave me space, more space inside of my head, inside of my life
Yeah.
to be able to explore even more. And you get the choice. Sure, everybody can come out of a relationship, for a long-term relationship, and be like, woohoo, I'm going to go play and have fun and all the things. And you should. But you should also get it out of your system and get intentional with what you're doing. And if you're going to live a life that's, more divinely led.
Right.
And so you teeter back and forth with that. And I did. I'm not perfect by any means. I am very imperfect. I have a lot of things that I've done badly and I'm not proud of, or you learn. It's not even that I'm not proud of them. It's just that I've learned better. I understand in more in different ways than I did before. And,
Yeah.
you know, I had space to explore the healing journey, which was next,
Mm-hmm.
which was, ooh, what's Reiki? I want to do that. What is that? And what is she? Who's that? Like, I want to go to this workshop or I want to watch this video or I want to do this trip or whatever. And the old players on the board, they fall off. New players come on
Mm-hmm.
that are in alignment with you at the time. Alignment with you at the time. It's like they say what you need comes to you when you need it. Well, because they're in alignment with you at the
At the
time. So
time.
you're
Right.
attracting them to you. And as you journey that healing part of your journey, you heal, you raise your frequency, you have realizations about yourself, about how you show up in the world, about how you want to show up in the world. You heal traumas from this life, past life. You have realizations, understanding. You start dabbling into different things. You might veer off on the wrong path. You might autocorrect and come back. Like, that's the healing journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. And through doing that, the very first thing I went to was like yoga is a very starting place for many people because it touches it lets the body ease, the mind get alleviated, and so the wisdom comes, right?
Right.
You can
Yeah.
connect. And the next thing I wanted to do was yoga nidra. And my friends and I would go and like, I saw purple and I did this, and it was like a big deal. And then there was a Reiki share. And my friend said, there's a Reiki share at this studio, yoga studio near my house. There's 5 practitioners. You sign up for 30 minutes. It's cheap. Let's do it. I'm like, cool, let's do it. I had no idea what I was getting into. And I don't know if I would tell anybody else to do this.
You're like,
It
I'm
was
open. Let's go.
it was nuts. It was crazy, but it was profound, and it happened, and it was important because it made me kick the can down the road more, kind of down the road a little bit more and more. I was the last person on this Reiki share, so I'm grateful for that because everyone would have left the room and been like, "I'm not doing that." And so by the time I got up, I have 5 women working on me at the same time. I'd never had done this before, and they got up into my heart, and then this welling is the only word I can use. This like welling started happening. I never felt anything like it. And I had this huge release in my heart, and I was howling
Mm,
and crying and releasing, and like it was physical, it was emotional. I was a little fearful because I had never had that happen before.
right.
And they worked on me for a while. I think they probably were like, "Oh my God."
What is
And
happening?
I know. And when I was done, this one woman ran around the table and came up to me and she goes, "You're an empath." And I was like, I didn't even know what an empath was, Lindsay. Like, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But as I learned what an empath was, I understood myself even more and more. Like my first year of marriage, I had to go on anxiety medication because like
Mm,
there were certain people and experiences that made me anxious.
yeah.
That's what the doctor said to do, and that's what I did. And at this point in my journey, I weaned myself off of that because I had this knowing that I wasn't supposed to be on it anymore. That's what I mean. The knowings were like, I'm supposed to go down this road on a walk, and then I bump into someone that's like having a hard day, or like it was, and I started using that tool and using that. So after the Reiki thing happened, I met this woman who was this young, beautiful woman. She was at the yoga studio. We were doing a, a law of attraction. We were doing boards, vision boards.
Mm-hmm.
So I met her and I was just attracted to her. I'd had like sit next to her and like we talked the whole entire time. I found out that she was the sister of one of the yoga studio owners, good friend of mine, and she was a sustainability expert in Manhattan, and she was Forbes 30 under 30, and she was brilliant. Like I just
Mm.
loved everything about her. She was like, Pamela, I just went to, I went to do ayahuasca with the indigenous people. I had this profound moment. I'm leaving everything. I'm starting a Reiki business, and would you help me and do trade with it? And I was like, yeah. So we became
Wow.
good friends.
Uh-huh.
I forgot to tell you that I've been a marketing and branding entrepreneur. I've had businesses on and off my whole career for the last 26 plus years. And so I had that skill set and I was able to help her. So we did trade, and I started doing Reiki with her. And she was doing this retreat down in Costa Rica on the top of this quartz crystal mountain, Reiki one. And I was like, I kept feeling this pull, and I wanted to ask her, would you do trade for that? And then I kept hearing, it's not time, it's not
Mm.
time. And then she said to me, I never wanted to learn Reiki, but I just had this knowing I was supposed to go. So I said, I didn't say anything. And then she said to me, Pamela, would you be interested in going to this for the last part of our trade, going to this thing? I said, this retreat. I'm like, yeah, I would. So I went down as a newly single woman to Costa Rica by myself and met all these new women. And I learned about Reiki. I learned about the chakras. I learned about myself. I learned about my energy. I learned all about who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, they did the attunement and we had the ceremony. And another thing happened to me. I had this huge experience where my throat went, my neck went, and I started foaming at the mouth. I
Mm.
had this past life hanging happen.
Mm.
And everyone was startled and everyone was like, no one knew what to do except for the Reiki practitioners. And I was shaken, shook. I was like, I had never experienced anything like that before.
Yeah.
And I was scared because I didn't know what that was. That night, she came to my room. She worked on me. We put crystals around my room. And I dreamt about the past life of the hanging. I saw myself being whipped in a field of wheat
Hmm.
wearing this. I saw the people all around me beating me. Um, you know, and at the time, Kelly didn't really want to scare me because I didn't really understand all of it. But she said, Pamela, listen, you know, a lot of people who have done this work in many lifetimes have been persecuted and killed. I'm just saying that that's probably what that is, you know. And she said it without saying it. Like she gave me just enough to help me understand. But I needed to keep going on this journey myself, pushing through fear with courage to
Which is the big
understand more
one.
and more.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that experience broke my throat open. So I had another like amazing opportunity to raise my frequency, to heal, to have realizations, to move forward down on this path. I started seeing, hearing, I started having visions, I started having experiences with energies and entities and all kinds of interaction at night. I mean, it was a lot.
Hmm. Can I ask real quick? So,
Yeah.
did this start? So this starts after your throat opening in Costa Rica. You're going home and you're having all of this stuff happening, and it's happening at night. You said when you're
Yep.
sleeping.
Yep.
Would it happen during the day also?
The knowings and stuff were there, but mostly it was at night.
Interesting.
I started having connections with deceased loved ones. I started having very, very vivid vision dreams.
Mm-hmm.
I would be laying there and I'd wake up and there would be aliens standing next to my bed.
Mm.
I have a whole notebook where I drew them over and over and over and over again. And I just had like all of these experiences continually, you know, with all of these different
Yeah,
beings
look at that.
and just draw them. I'm showing my little CVS notebook
And you're quite
because
creative, so it's done very
yes,
well.
right. Right. So they look like pretty decent drawings.
Yeah, they are.
But you know, it was a lot. And I was very afraid for a while, but there was just continual evidence into that my life was changing. Everything was, I just knew I
Hmm.
had to forge forward, forge forward. And Kelly would be there every now and then. I used to see this spiritual advisor who was a psychic medium, Rich Branconi. I saw him every 6 months for like 10 years. I just interviewed him for my podcast. He's so
Oh,
cool.
cool.
I love him. And he would help me. You know, my deceased loved ones would come with messages saying I'm on the right path. Like I had support minimally,
Hmm.
but it was about me.
Yeah.
It was about all about me moving from that fear, from all of those lifetimes of doing this to like, this is go time.
Hmm.
This lifetime is go time in the biggest way. And I was on this path of discovery. I wanted to consume everything. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to watch everything. I wanted to attend to everything. I wanted to learn everything. And one of the things that I saw was this video of this hotelier named Gerald Powell. And it talked about how he was addicted to sex, to gambling, to women, to drugs, to alcohol, to everything. And he did plant medicine.
Mm.
A past experience from his childhood of molestation was revealed to him through plant medicine, and he healed himself of all of his addictions.
Wow.
And he took his skills and he created this beautiful retreat center down in Costa Rica. And the moment I saw it, only Kelly had ever mentioned the word I didn't even know what it was. I knew I was going there. I knew that that's the place that I was going. I knew that I was doing that. I didn't have a desire to do plant medicine. I didn't even know what plant medicine was. It was just the blah, 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 blah. That's where you're going. You're going. And I started at this point, there were all these alignments, all these synchronicities happening. The right people would come at the right time. The right ticket to something would come that I didn't have to pay for. The right opportunities would come. The right, this would like, it was nonstop.
Hmm.
And I was asked to do trade with this other woman. And I said yes. I could have said no, but I said yes because I wanted to explore it. And that's the thing, people. When you have the opportunities, you have to say yes
Yes, to
because
take
you
them.
ask. Yeah, you ask, and you're like, I want to explore this, whatever, whatever, more. I want to see more. I want to do more. Well, guess what? It's going to come, and someone's going to say, I have a ticket. It's fully paid for. It's on a Saturday. If you can figure out a way to get there, it's yours. Yes, yes. Even if you don't like the experience, you were open to it. You have to be open to it.
Yeah.
And this
Can
woman
I
said, "Do you
stop you
want?"
for 1 second?
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
brought up something funny. I have to interject it here. I had seen a couple of channelers in my, early 20s, and one of the channelers in there channeled this thing to me, and she said, always go to gatherings that
Mm,
you are being invited to. gatherings will play a huge role. And it's funny, I haven't thought about that in years. And
Yeah.
you said that, and I thought, yeah, that's funny. It's kind of a thing.
Yeah.
When you're
And it's
invited, go.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You never know who
Yeah.
you're going to meet, what connections you're going to make. You don't know. Yeah.
You have no idea. It's exciting. If you play at a game, like make it a game,
Yeah.
it's exciting. I have so many things to tell you about that too. That's why I'm sitting right here in Washington, D.C. area because I did it, you know. And I this woman asked me to do trade so she could become this coach or whatever. And then she's like, you know what, Pamela, would you do work with our company? She worked for another company. I said, yeah. So I did work with this company. They had a symposium every year. They would go down to Florida for this fun event. So I said yes to that. So I walk into the room and I see the owner of the company who I never met yet standing on the other side of this big conference room. And I went, oh my God, it's Steve. I ran over to him and I was like, Steve, hi, it's Pamela. We haven't met yet. I'm so excited to meet you. And he turns and he looks at me. This energy came through my crown, through
Mm.
his crown, out our hearts. I went, wah, wah.
Wow.
And my breath was taken away. And he said, do you feel that? And I said, I do. There was a moment. Now you have to explore the moments too. You can't just walk away, go on your merry way. You got to like just discover what that was about. So I went and I watched him lead this thing, and we were together and experiencing things the whole weekend. But I got home to my house outside of Philadelphia at the time. And I was thinking about that event and thinking about all the things. And I'm working. I'm on a Zoom call, and my phone rings. I see this odd number, and I don't answer it, but I look at it and I hear Steve. I get off the Zoom call and I look and there's a message from him. He wants to like explore what that was. So I call him back and he starts talking to me and he's like, I'm actually, because I don't tell anybody this in my professional business life, but I'm actually on my way to go do ayahuasca in the ceremony and blah, 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 blah. And I went, ayahuasca. I was like, this is how like naive I was. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to go to Rhythmia Life Advancement Center. I don't know when I'm going, but that's where I'm going. And he goes, Pamela, he goes, I'm going there in November. And I'm like, these are not things that people talk about. They just don't. Like nobody in my world knew Rhythmia. Nobody even heard of it. And he
That's
and I
wild.
became really good friends. We became very good friends. And I kept hearing he's going to ask you to go with him. He's going to ask you to go with him. He came around and he said to me, he goes, you know, I'm getting guidance to ask you if you would like to go on this trip. You have to pay your own way. You're going to love the people. He's in this group, Transformational Leadership Council, and one of the people that's in that group is on the board of Rhythmia, and they were shutting the whole place down, and they
Oh.
were only going to have 40 high conscious leaders there. And so I didn't have to figure it out. Spirit just scooped me up and put me in this high frequency container because had work to do. I had to like get on the fast track for 2020 and beyond to
Yeah.
be here now. And it's the truth. It really is the truth. And
So what year was that? When did you
that
go
was
there?
2019. I went in
Okay.
November of 2019.
Wow.
And I had, I was like, how am I going to go to this? Like, how am I going to pay for this? And I got exactly what I needed in a tax return.
Mm.
And so
Isn't that
instead of
funny?
going and getting on a roof, I got, I did that. And, I'm joking, but seriously, I could have done 500 different things with that money.
Yeah.
And, but that's another thing you have to say yes. Like, you have to do the things, you have to make the hard choices. You
Yeah.
get to. And so through that, there was so much, I was scared to death of the plant medicine because I had a lot of fear inside of me. I'm still knocking down this like one last like pile of bricks of fear. And at that time, I had a lot of fear. I was coming off of all that experience I already told you about, having entities go in my body in the middle of
Yes.
sleeping and like all
Yeah.
the things.
The
And
buzzing and the electric nerves. Yeah.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I
It's
mean,
not
it's very
easy.
real. It's
Mm-hmm.
very real.
Yeah, and
And
it's like you don't say that out loud to most people because it sounds crazy, right? But it feels like you're literally plugged in to the outlet, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they see a void or an opening and they take advantage of it,
Mm-hmm.
and there are forces around us that we don't see. That's why it's imperative, and I'll get to the end of my story, my teachings is to raise your frequency and be in complete power and control of your being.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, when I was in Rhythmia, I did so much work healing it was mostly this life trauma. It was mostly like I had realizations about my childhood. I had realization. I healed relationships. I pulled karmic energy from my that passed on to my daughters. I had had a shamanic journey right before this, maybe like 6, 8 months before that, where I had this realization about a past life with my dad. It made so much sense, and I understood it all and how it applied to this life. They gave me a memory from my childhood that connected dots,
Mm.
and like, when you're in the state of the energy, which is this super high frequency plant energy, grandmother ayahuasca, it's healing, it's loving, it's a beautiful, beautiful energy. You get exactly what you need when you need it. So if you have a lot of fear, you might have fearful experiences to release it from you, to express it out of your being.
Yeah.
um, it's a myriad of outcomes. You are not in control of it, and that's a whole other podcast to talk about plant medicine and energies and
Oh,
stuff.
definitely. It's a
Yeah,
whole
it's a
different
lot.
show. Yeah.
It's a whole different show. I have so much to say about it. But through my journey with that, I healed so much that I raised my frequency. It was a week long. At the end of it, we're in the jungle energy. We're eating vegan. We're, so or vibing high. We
Mm-hmm.
did a breath work class. And if anybody's done a breath work class, you get yourself to a state of heightened kundalini, like you're
Mm-hmm.
like in this frequency. And I had a white light shoot through my third eye, fill my entire body up with love frequency. My teeth were chattering, my body was buzzing, I was crying, I lost my breath. And I heard, your psychic abilities have been enhanced. Everything from this moment forward will be different.
Mm.
That's what happened.
Wow.
You
Did you
know,
hear that is it like an internal knowing?
telepathically. Yeah.
Yeah. I was
Yep.
thinking you probably didn't hear it as an actual
No.
voice.
Yep. I heard it telepathically, and it was all happening at the same time. It was
Right.
like, it was, it was intense.
Well, because the body sensation is intense and not a lot of people talk about that.
Mhm.
And I think there's a need for it. There's a need for people to understand that the body does get affected.
It certainly does.
I think a lot of discussion in spiritual awakening or spirituality in general is always talking about conceptually speaking.
Ugh,
And
yes, it is.
I'm like, but there's so much more going on. And then you have to learn how, like you're doing now, how
Yeah,
did you ground that
yeah,
energy and be able to work with it? Right. Because that's the
yeah,
whole point, right? You end up
yeah,
having to work with it because
yeah,
otherwise, like you just said earlier, it's like you feel like somebody's taking control over you.
yeah,
But as you're going, it seems you're learning to take control of your own energy.
yeah.
And yeah, maybe you can go from there. Yeah.
Well, it's absolutely true. And I'd just like to go back to what you said. There's a movement happening now. It's been happening, I don't know, the past 6 months. No longer are we in our spiritual intelligence. Time is over for that. It's embodiment, it's complete embodiment.
Mm-hmm.
You must use your body. It is imperative. So, the time of watching, and I mean, listening is great, but like studying and presentations and lectures and like they're all great, but it is not about intelligence.
No.
It is actually practice, putting it into practice, living with it in the body, feeling it, working on the frequency, actionable items, putting forth the effort, understanding it experientially. It's like it's a different time now on our planet
Yeah.
completely.
Well, and it's a completely different, I think, and this is my own,
Yeah.
personal take on it, but it's a completely different experience to talk about spirituality and feel it, live it. Like you said, it's just not even close to the same thing. And
Mm-mm.
I think you're right. I do hear a little bit more people talking about the realism of it. I think maybe is a good word. Like, let's just talk spiritual realism, people. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because it's important.
It is, yeah.
It's a really important time.
Mhm.
And so that leads into the teachings. But the council and the guides that I channel, that's what their primary goal is to teach about that. But I was through embodiment, through, I call it living with your spirit first. So my I'll tell you about spirit calling, but the tagline is, it's you hear it, you hear your spirit whispering, right? And they're all the knowings, right?
Right.
And then you answer it. That's putting action to it, right? You're
Yeah.
actionably. And then there's answering it, which is you are living it.
Mm-hmm.
You are, and then there's living it. Then you are living it. You are practicing it. You are supporting other people with it. It's just the way you choose to live your life now. You're not talking about it like you said. You're actually living it. So you're making the really hard choices, like when you're told to sell your house and you're not ready to sell your house, and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
really? I got to do that now? Yeah.
Let's add that to the list.
Yeah, like I wasn't going to do that till last year. No, it's time now. We told you to take the money out of the house and you listened. Now it's time to sell it. Well, of course I'm going to do what they say. I'm not going to question it. I'm not going to go to my client who's the biggest realtor in my town who could have got me much more money for it, potentially, intellectually,
Yeah.
intellectually,
Right.
right? But no, I'm going to listen. I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to do it. And I'm going to know that it's all going to be worked for me. That's living with your spirit first. The universe is conspiring for you to give you everything and anything that you need, always. So it's a different way of being.
Yeah, it is. And you say listening. So maybe you can touch on that a little bit, Pamela. When people are listening to this, and you mentioned you had a lot of fear involved.
Yeah.
And maybe can you bridge those two together? Because I'm guessing, this is just my, as you're talking,
Mhm.
hearing you say, there must have been some switch that shifted you to listen to dissolve the fear as opposed
Yeah.
to resisting or living in fear constantly, becoming
Yeah.
the fear, that whole thing. So, how did you flip off the fear and choose to listen? How did you do it?
Through trust,
There you
through
go.
trust.
Mm-hmm.
And only by doing one thing at a time. We need evidence as human beings. It's like we have to have evidence because fear is fear of the unknown. Fear is I have no idea what this outcome will be unless I control it with everything that I have inside of me. Fear is, even with like if you just bundle yourself up as one, you're not even breaking yourself up as a physical and a spiritual being, but just looking at it as a whole, like every single moment of your life, every decision, you get to choose love or fear. And
Right.
that's what I did. I started choosing love as often as I could. And when I didn't, I would learn that I didn't get the optimal outcome. So I would learn through experience that, I should have chosen the higher and better. And it doesn't mean that you're always going to get the outcome from others that you want, or you're going to get, it means that you're going to get the best potential for your future that is there because you're never going to be able to control anybody else.
No.
So it's all about you. And through choices of love instead of fear, I was able to, I call it like, sometimes the guides get cheeky and they call it like a golden path in front of you, red carpet or whatever. If you can
Mm-hmm.
visualize that and imagine that you are in control of where that goes.
Yeah.
So every choice is changing the direction of that. And every choice, if you cower in fear, you're saying, I am in control of it. I know
Right.
best.
It's my special little
And
fear.
right, right. My fear is going to guide me on my little roadmap, and I'm going to be great with my own GPS system. But if you are able to say, I know that I am through experiential learning, I know that I am guided, I know that I am cared for, I know that I have a whole team, I know that my higher self and the universe are all conspiring because they are to give me the best and most optimal outcome for the future potential of myself, which is a superiorly high frequency, wonderful, loving being, all encompassed by my original DNA and blueprint of who I am and my soul, which is love. And it seems like a high concept, but it really is. That's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
We have had all these experiences in our life that have told us that we're not.
Oh, yeah.
So it's combating that. It's like you're Rocky and you're like, "Poof, poof, poof." No, you're not going to get me off my path. And you just keep on going on the path that's the highest and best.
Yeah.
Um, you can't control other people. So if you have, say you're just like me, and it must be somebody who needs to hear this, you're having contrast in your relationship, in your marriage. You have children, you have a whole network of in-laws and family members and all the things, and you're scared. Of course you're scared because you were a part of a network and now you're saying, I no longer want to be a part of this network. Bloop. I'm pulling myself out and I'm going to
Right.
do something new.
Yeah.
You're never going to control their narrative. You're never going to control how they react, how they respond with their action. Like you're never going to do it. So you just have to control the choices and what you do,
Right.
and ask for guidance, ask for support. And so grounding is, like you mentioned, is really super important. Doing the things that bring you passion, doing the things that bring you joy. If there's a ritual or a practice or something that makes you feel very connected to yourself, connected to nature, connected in a way where you don't feel like you're spiraling out of control and you're being, succumb to other people's energies or even the world,
Mm-hmm.
there are important things to do. So some of the things that I try to do is walk in nature and really just disconnect from technology. I call them council walks now, but because I get a lot of inspiration when I'm on them and downloads and stuff. And I'll use my phone to record them, but I'll decide not to listen to, a friend's message that they left me, or something that I had to do for work, or something on YouTube or whatever. I'll choose to say no, intentionally, this is my time. I'll look at each tree and I'll say hi to them. It sounds silly, but you could ground an energy from them. And you take a moment to just connect to all that is in the slightest and smallest way. It feels vast. It feels different and wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So they're empowering moments, because we are empowered beings. We're not a part of a system and a structure and an agenda. We're not. We create our realities every stinking second of our life, and we
Yeah.
get to create what we want.
The agenda would love us to think that we're just
We're just small and stupid and sick and
we're
yeah.
puppets in their little show, but you don't have to do that at all. No.
No, you don't. And you
No.
can create the outcome that you want and not have to. So many people are just connecting from everything. Like everyone's listening. They know there's a giant shift happening. You feel it, you see it.
Yeah.
It's happening in the conversations at the water cooler. Like everybody's talking about it. And if you're not, you're thinking it.
If you're not just saying it, you're
Yeah,
definitely thinking
you're
about it.
thinking
Yeah.
it.
So, can you share also, Pamela, how did you get connected to the Great Council of Light? Explain what it is, explain how you see it, feel it. Like, how does that work for you?
Yes.
Tell us about the channeling side. I'm curious, how does that work in your life? Because it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how did you just accept it? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was accepting. Yeah. You're absolutely right. It was a big decision. When I came back from Costa Rica, I had this new, like, heightened ability, frequency, plus I had the guidance that they gave me. They
Mm-hmm.
told me everything would be different. I had already seen it happening all my life, this whole path to get me here and there. So I decided, suddenly we had COVID. We had a bank of time. We had like new schedules for work. It was like a whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
I decided to sit every morning and sit there with an open heart and just say, I want to discover more about what this is. I want to co create, I want to collaborate together, not like I'm going to lay in bed and meditate. People say, I lay in bed and I meditate right before I go to bed. No, no, you need to create a time with intention in your schedule, just like you would do with anything else,
Yeah.
with your exercise, with your children, with your music, whatever. You set a time and you say, this is my time to connect intentionally, to co-create. And that's what I did. And I started having experiences. I would have this buoyant group of feminine divine beings come in that were really super filled with love. They were effervescent. And every time they came in, I did more of that past life throat chakra thing that
Mm-hmm.
happened with the Reiki. And I relived past lives, deaths over and over and over and over and over again. I drew them, I recorded them, I wrote about them and journaled about them. And by doing that over and over and over again, I kept raising my frequency where I got to a point, and this is a fast story, but I got to a point where I heightened my frequency to a point where the guides who I didn't even know yet were able to lower theirs. It's the only way I can explain it, for this like transfer of energy to happen. And I remember the first time it was like this, I could see like this like swirling, spiraling like light
Mm.
linear thing coming down, and it went, I could hear myself going and that's when it hit me the first time.
Mm.
And I started connecting with this group of energies, I started allowing them to come into my body. I knew I was protecting,
Mm-hmm.
and I kept working with their frequency, and I had to work with the physicality of my body and my language and my voice box and, all these things.
Yeah.
And I started channeling messages from this group of divine beings called the Great Council of Light, who they told me who they were after a while.
Yeah.
And they are divine, angelic, super high frequency creator beings. They told me who they are, what their name is. They have a vested interest in humanity to help them transition through this giant shift that's happening on our planet. And that I have made a contract in another place and time. I didn't learn this part until recently, that I am an aspect of them, incarnate now, and there's many of us. And they are here to support us as we are supporting humankind. So my biggest job is to help people understand that they have a frequency, and they are frequencies. They're frequent. They're powerful vibratory beings. They are connected to all that is, and they're not separate. They are they are unified and connected. And um, there's lessons of how to teach that. There's lessons of how to teach how to raise your frequency. And then I just recently, in 2020, I woke up in the middle of the night and I heard spirit calling. Spirit calling. I got up, I wrote it down, I bought the domain in the morning. And then over the course of a year, with all of this is after COVID, after all of these like downloads, and I was told to build a portal, and there's going to be a glass ceiling that broke, and people are going to stop in their tracks and not know who and what their world is that they've believed in all their life. They need a safe place to land. You need to create a portal. And I was like, what? So I know. And I had already merged a business and starting a new business. And I'm like, I can't do this now. And they're like, yeah, you can. You're going to do this. And so I launched it in 2024 in January. And I started sharing my visions, my premonitions, my downloads, and all my stuff. And I started, I didn't want to do that. I accepted it.
Yeah.
It was hard. I didn't want to do it because I had this business life, and I had corporate clients and a facade that of who I thought I was then. But I was afraid it would hurt it, and I didn't know how to navigate it. And I had to make a choice to put those channel messages out and say that I am a trans channeler and launch a community and to work with people. Like, it's a choice.
Right.
And I ran that company for 2 years while I ran my other business. And I had employees and a business partner and all the things. But then I started feeling like it's closing.
Yeah.
You gotta make the jump. Gotta make the jump. You gotta shed the persona of who you've been. You have to jump now into this new thing. The timeline squeezing. And I'm like, I feel it. And
Yeah.
I made the decision, sold the business. So this January has been the first
Oh,
and
wow.
in my third month of running it just 100% of the time.
Wow. So you were doing both kind of, starting spirit calling. For anybody listening, it's spirit
Mm.
hyphen, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Calling.com. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I was.
I love the name of it because it's just
They
perfect.
chose it.
Yeah, I know.
They chose it. So yeah, so then it's a beautiful community, and I support the community by sharing monthly messages channeled from the Great Council of Light. I share premonitions, visions, downloads, information when I receive it. I don't do it for algorithms. I don't do it for likes. I don't do it for sensationalism. I am not going to be like everybody else. I'm just not.
No, that's great.
When I get it, I share it. Like, there were a lot of visions about America that I had received from, I think, July until recently.
Hmm.
They're all on my YouTube channel, but those are hard to put out. It's hard for me. I have to. This is the fear I told you about. I'm
Yeah.
chiseling the end of the wall, and I was asked to speak in public for the first time at an event in San Diego in September. That was the first time I did that. I say yes. I don't know. I don't know how. I had to figure it out. They telling me to create containers like Soul Path Coaching, and I coach people one on one. Who's going to want to work with me? Do it. Well, they sell out, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Do
they tell
it.
me now to create this new thing live every month, because I get messages, Lindsay, in my email box, every single platform, people sending me messages of experiences that they've had.
Hmm.
They want to share. They just want someone to talk to. They want to understand it. And I said to Spirit, like, what I've created a ladder for everyone to meet them all where they all are on their from my low membership to my high membership. Everybody has an option, but people want to talk.
They do.
And so I created this Ask Pamela Live monthly.
Mm.
First one is next month. And it's a place where they can talk. I
Yeah.
can tell them what I think. I can probably give them some guidance and some tools. And I had a dream last night. This is so funny. I had a dream last night because I say to myself, who's going to come? I
Yeah.
still do it. Who's
Yeah.
going to come? Who's going to buy this meditation? Who wants to hear me talk? I still do it. That's the fear. Last night I had a dream. I was in my house and there were people coming in, filing in, coming down the steps, coming in every door, coming in every window, like coming in. And I was like, I don't have enough chairs for
Now I
everybody.
don't have enough space.
And it was about that. And I kept saying, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And so I just have to trust.
You do. And Pamela, when you put it out there, there are people, I know this too.
Yeah.
You go through something that's not kosher with, traditional things in life. There's very few people out there that you can reach out to talk about it.
Yeah, totally.
Like people like you and I are not,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
But people do want, all they really want is to be heard. They want to share and know that this isn't crazy,
Yeah.
because you feel like you're going a little bit nuts. I was there. I know how and it just, my heart reaches out to people too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's
Absolutely.
okay. And I love that you're doing all of this because it's so needed. It's so,
Yeah.
so needed.
It, it's so needed. And I really want to help people to know how to be empowered themselves.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing they made me create is this workshop. So it's like I've never done a workshop, so I'm going to figure it out. And it's just like we said, embody and intelligence. It's embodiment. They need to understand how to do it. And it's my job. I get to and I want to. And I just want everyone to feel at peace. Like you said too, and I read your chapter. It's excruciating when you're in that void of not knowing. It is so scary. And you don't even know how you're going to get to sleep that night. It's like you're not even sure how you're going to get it through the next day.
No.
You just put one foot in front of the other and you just keep moving forward. And like it's different now. There's a giant world shift happening, which is going to shift everybody very, very quickly. And we're all supposed to, and that's everyone listening too. If you're the lighthouse in your world, you're supposed to stand there beaming brighter than ever and say, share more with me. Tell me what you know.
Yeah.
Not say, oh, I knew that and I've known that. And this is what I've been, like you have to be this beacon of light and support. A lighthouse is the word.
Yeah.
Because really people are going to be wobbled. They are going to be stopped in they are not going to understand it. And if everyone thinks it's crazy right now, I use the word crazy, but if they think it's unbelievable now with what you're seeing in the news and the media, people have been desensitized to it. It's nothing compared to what's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Now you've got to get your house in order, work on your frequency, get your vibration up, know what you're doing, get your tools in your belt, and be empowered and ready.
Yeah, you just said something interesting because it is like, I don't know how you feel about this, but when you're going through something very challenging, you don't picture that you're going to be helping people in the future, right?
Yeah.
It's not even on your radar.
It's like the last thing you're thinking of, like, help me now.
You're just trying to get through the day, like you said.
Yeah.
Am I going to get to sleep? What's going to happen tomorrow? When is this going to end? Like that's kind of the
Mhm,
mentality.
mhm. Yeah.
But it's so helpful to have people, and I'm sure this is true throughout history. There's always pioneers or people who have sort of paved the way so they can help. And they've
Yeah.
done it. They've felt it. They know how to relate to other people, and I think that's huge because I find a lot of people, I don't know who do you trust
Right.
as human form? It's one thing, like you said, we're trusting the spirit that's around us or whoever you're working with. But how do you know when to trust other people? Because
Mhm.
there's been a lot of fraudulent stuff over in life.
There has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have such authenticity. I can tell just by your story, and it's nice to know you did what you were asked to do, which is put it out there.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. And that's what I want people to hear and feel from me because it's really important is that they are just like me. I am just like them. The days of we've watched them all just fall. the elevated gurus, the people who have been in world leader positions teaching this stuff, like they're falling because that's our upside down world that's being revealed.
Yeah.
We are powerful creator beings filled with light, connected to the divine. Like we're amazing. We're connected to the omniverse. We're connected to all that is, everything. And when you realize that, you understand your true potential. And it's just a remembering process because we've been conditioned to be small and we're not. And that's the most beautiful thing. Like if anyone is, feeling the topsy-turviness of the world right now, just know it has to happen so that this beautiful world that I've been told about, where, everyone's working with love at the forefront of everything that they do. They're talking and speaking telepathically to each other. They're trading services, for why I'm good at this and you're good at that. Let's collaborate and co-create something together. And healing is a completely different thing. Like food, everything in our world is completely, because it's based in love and high frequency. Imagine that, what's coming. Like imagine that. So that's something to be excited about and know that you're a part of that.
Exactly. Well, this is probably a great place to kind of, close for the day. You said something so lovely. Is there anything else that you would like to share? Anything that messages that have come through to you that you want to share with the audience before we sign off?
Yeah, I think I always end with something like this. I get downloads in the shower, and they showed me the other day. Some people they don't understand what it means to live with your soul first, with love first, with your energetic part of who you are, your higher guidance, your higher intuition first. And they showed me the gears on a bike, and they showed me the front gear and the back gear. And they said, now with all the shifts that are happening in the world, and people think that they are subject to that. That's what makes their world by looking at the external world, but it's actually backwards. You create your reality and you create the world around you. So if you are living with your spirit as that larger gear or whatever the front gear is, if your spirit's guiding you, think of a bike. Your spirit's going to take you and wiggle you around any of those difficult things. You're just going to make a right hand turn or a left. It's going to do a wheelie and a jump. Like it's going to figure out a way to get you to the highest and best experience. And so do that.
Yeah.
And if you have to think about it, do it.
I love that. Keep spirit in the driver's seat is really what we're saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Pamela. I just
welcome.
loved your chat, and your energy is beautiful. And for those of you listening, she's at spiritcalling.com. Please check out the website, and you've got all kinds of different memberships and things available for people.
Yeah.
So
There's a page I would love for them to go to. It's spirit-calling.com/podcast. And there's Symptoms of Awakening download there for free. There's a messages from the Great Council of Light that you could use every day in your life, a download that's for free. So go check that out.
okay.
And thank you for having me here.
You
It
are
was
welcome.
wonderful. Yeah, it was great to see you.
Anytime. I'd love to have you back. That's it for today's show. Thanks so much for listening. If it resonated, please share, follow, and drop a review with your takeaways. It really means a lot. Visit my website at liveLikeEden.com to subscribe for weekly reminders and blogs, or sign up for a free 30-minute consult to explore one-on-one guidance sessions if you're really struggling in Awakening's darkness. Take my Awakening quiz to get a personal podcast playlist that meets you exactly where you're at. See you next week for another deep dive.
Intuition is our spiritual GPS and the single best tool that we have to navigate our lives. I'm Victoria Shaw, and on my Intuitive Connection podcast, I'll share with you the ways to connect with your intuition and awaken the gifts of your soul. In each episode, I'll draw on my own intuitive gifts and my training in psychology and counseling to support you in reaching your highest potential. Start listening now on the mindbodyspirit.fm podcast network or wherever you find your podcasts.